This is quick input form video tutorial number 2. My name is Jeffrey Smith. In this tutorial, I want to show some numbers from a real property that I found in LoopNet. This is the asking price, $139,000. I've put in some reasonable estimations for a down payment, first trust deed, and second trust deed. Put in the gross scheduled income, that's $500 per unit for a fourplex, estimating a 1% vacancy factor, property taxes, property insurance, property management at 7% of the gross operating income, utilities, maintenance, water and sewer, trash removal. Using these numbers, we determine that the net operating income is $15,911, which calculates a capitalization rate of 11.45%. The debt coverage ratio is 1.508. That's a very good debt coverage ratio. The return on equity, also called the cash-on-cash return, 38.54%. That return on equity is sufficient to justify a syndication of this property. Over here in equity syndication, I've guesstimated about a 2% operating reserve fund, escrow closing costs of about 2%, a syndication premium fee of 4% of the asking price, and a 40% share of the cash flow and exit strategy. There will be 10 membership units total, reserving 4 units, that's 40% of 10, selling 6 membership units, that's 60% ownership, and raising $25,000 from the sale of the 6 shares. The per unit price is $4,170. That's a 3% unit price rate on the asking price. Per unit cash flow annual is $536, monthly $45. The annualized yield for the private financiers, 12.85%. If I instead borrow the down payment, I can amortize it at 300 monthly payments, that's 25 years, with an annual interest rate of 12.23%. Now suppose I also borrowed the second position financing, and this was not a trust deed, but rather it was preferred equity. I'm offering a 10% annual yield based on an amortization term of 300 payments. So in combination with the second position preferred equity and the third position common equity, I have 100% financing arranged on this property. My yearly cash flow would be $2,143. This represents a very good deal that I can get into with nothing down, using private financing and a 70% first trust deed at 6% amortized over 300 payments. I also have a sufficient line of credit with my private financiers that I could finance this entire deal all through them and pay all cash on this, and then later on use a refinance to create a first trust deed at 70% and pay them back. So this is an opportunity where I can use private financing to acquire a property with 100% financing, positive cash flow, good debt coverage ratio to protect against recessionary pressure on income and expenses. And through a refinance strategy, I can pull cash out to pay off my private financiers with institutional financing and do this all over again. This has been Quick Input Form Video Tutorial number 2. My name is Jeffrey Smith, and thank you for your support.